Good afternoon. This is the Elliott Wave weekly update for gold, silver, and platinum, being recorded on Saturday, June the 21st at 12:20 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I'm going to begin with gold, and I'm actually using my 34-inch screen because I want to really show the whole big picture. So I hope it travels well onto your screen. And because I'm starting with my maximum monthly chart, which that data goes back to 1975. So basically, we got 50 years of data to review and to look at. And so my biggest picture for gold futures is that we're in a cycle degree. It's either going to be one, two, and we're in cycle wave three, or it's A, B, and we're in cycle wave C. And there's a conversation that continues to go on as to why couldn't gold be trading other than just in three-wave structures, ABC, that completes the cycle and it moves to a new ABC. And once I get up to cycle wave C, then it starts over again with looking for cycle wave ABC down. Now, that I've had the conversation with someone who does a lot of research on gold and is also very knowledgeable at Elliott Wave, my first teacher. And he brought it to my attention, say, why wouldn't it be a cycle one, two, and three? And just that the whole thing is a rally. And that may just be the case. And if that's the case, we're in cycle wave three out of five. So that would actually suggest that we're going to go much higher than my own projections of what I have for the C wave. And because it's over a much more lengthy of time. But let's leave it as is. So we don't need to really, I don't think right now, for intents and purposes, that we need to be concerned about is it a cycle C or is it a cycle three? And we're going to go right into wherever that is and to realize that we are doing five waves of primary degree up. And within that, here's primary one, here's primary two. And then within primary wave three, we have five waves of intermediate degree, of which we only have one and two. And within intermediate wave three, we have five waves of minor degree, which we only have one and two. So you see, we're subdividing. Once, here is once, twice, three times, four times. We have subdivided, and then within this, it is subdivided twice. So just from a minute degree, we're subdividing once, twice, third time. So we still have, in my opinion, a three to finish, and then a four, and then a five to finish minor three, and then a four and a five to finish intermediate three, and a four and a five to finish primary three, and then a four and a five to finish whatever it's going to be, cycle three or cycle C. So we still have quite a bit of upside move. And so it'll be years. I think that we're in a very long-term bull market in gold. And there's going to be a lot of things that go on. And we can even see that even within this one, we have had lengthy periods of decline and just corrective and consolidation. And then we just have massive rallies. And we are at and continue to hang out in new all-time highs for gold. So still lots of support for this metal. All right, so that's the monthly. I'm going to bring it down pretty quickly here. Let's bring it down to, well, let's take it down to the 3-year. And you can see in the 3-year, it just brings me down to where we're in minor wave three. That's the overall, the larger wave. And within that, we've got minute one and two. So we're getting ready to finish minute wave three. And within it, we've got minuet one, two, three, and four. And we're looking for that minuet wave five up to finish minute wave three. And so we can take it out of that weekly. I'm going to bring it down to the daily. And that just brings us up into this area where we are. Right? So this is all a part of this minuet third. And then we have ABC down for minuet wave four. And this is where it got a little bit, not necessarily conflict, but I was like, what could this be? I'm marking it as this being wave 1 of minuet wave 5. So it's sub minuet wave 1 of minuet wave 5. And it could grow. It could really push us up to some nice levels. And I'll demonstrate that in just a moment. But here's the other side of it, is that it could be ABC, wave A of minuet wave 4. This turns into a kind of strange but workable ABC up for wave B. Now we didn't go make a new high, so it could still be a wave B, and that brings us back down. Now, or I'm leaving, and if it's a C wave, then we have that chance of coming back down towards 31.25. If I leave it here as a first wave, and I think we still have additional correction to do, but then our support comes in at 3,340, 3,298 or 3,300, and then 3,250 to 55. And that would be our support zone for a wave 2. And that's a lot better than 3,100. Then we'd be looking for a stronger third wave up. Now, I still have where wave 5 would be 1.618 times the length. This would be minuet wave 5 would be 1.618 times the length of minuet wave 1 at 36.42. Then I have for minute, I have to go back up, minute wave 3 would be 388.2% the length of minute wave 1 at 36.65. So I still think that that's can be a pretty strong level that where we might get this done. Again, depends on this development here and how this is all going to play out. That's the 5, the 4, and we're looking for the 5. I will keep a very close eye on this because right now it looks like it's 1, 2, and we only get a 3 up to here. And I need to still get down and then put our levels for 3 and a 4 and a 5. Going above all that, we don't have very much. But I think that we could start filling that in, like at 37, all the different levels all the way up. But our next larger gathering of resistance comes in at 3,900 to 4,000. So eventually I'm looking for that, but I really think we're going to finish at least up to the minute third, and then have a little bit of a larger pullback. Now again, pulling this back out to that weekly, I get that minute wave 3 complete, then if it's up at 3,600, then I am looking for this. I'm looking for a much stronger consolidation period, just in the form of a minute fourth wave. But you can see if we're up at 36 or 3,700, coming back to 31, there's a pretty big drop. So we'll be talking about it once we get up there. Right now, I'm still looking for, let me bring this back down. I can bring it all the way to the hourly. And you can see there's the 1, and we got this 2 going. That's a lot of downside. But I have to tell you, there was tremendous expiration on Friday in the metals, in gold and in silver, stacked gamma. And what the market did, it brought it all the way down and monetized these lower levels, and then just kind of cut it in half to finish, just below 3,400. So I think that I could possibly put the 2 here. I'm leaving open the potential that we could drop a little bit further. Here are our markers, and then put that wave 2 in and then start to move higher off of there. Now, wave 3 needs to get above that level, of course, and needs to kind of fill in all these blanks. And we got to start to go now. Let me just pull this back out. We're just going to put in as if. We're going to say if. So I'm going to go from there and to there. And I'm going to let's just say it gets down to that level. And then I'm going to pull this down so we can take a look. You can see that wave 3 can get us almost up to 3,700. So I got to be real careful here because yes, it could, but I need to guide myself with these other fib levels. So I got to pay attention to what my counts are. But if that's what it's showing, that's what it's showing. And I think that we have that ability for the market to just kind of cruise and get itself up there. So I don't know. I could also bring this down a little bit, put the one, put the two, and this is one of three, two of three, and then it's going to change our levels. So it depends. I'm going to keep a close eye on it, and I likely will make another update intra week if it's needed. But we can change these levels. I'm going to activate extension. Yeah, extensions. And I'm going to bring this down to bring it down a level, bring that up to there, bring that up to there. And you can see it changes a little bit, keeps us at 36, but still above these other levels. But then it brings us up to there for that minute. This is the minute third. So I would rather have the 5 up there and get it and keep it. To me, that's cleaner, but I got to go with what the count is kind of demonstrating. And I still think we still have some strength to the upside, whether it's going to be a 3, a 4, or a 5. But this is my area that I'm thinking we could get that minute wave 3 in and then get that larger pullback. So we'll see how the count actually works out. But let's leave it to say that I am thinking that this is going to be an area between here and maybe 3,700 that we get up to finish minuet wave 5 and minute wave 3. Okay, so moving averages still look at now they're going a little bit flat, but the daily still pretty good for upside. This was kind of more strong to the downside. We had several days of like down 50 and then recovering. So again, we'll see how this all plays out. I will go from there. Silver, what a market. Silver was the highlight. Silver was highlighted. Let me see if I go back all the way out to my max. And if I do this just slightly, if it'll just, come on, correct. Get yourself, there you go. So I have, again, primary degree. I have an A, B, C, that's a W. And there is the X wave, and we're still in that Y wave. And I tell you, this is the area that I'm thinking that we're going to get to, the possibility for new all-time highs, which would be above 50. This is 1980. This is 2011. I think we can get above those 2011 highs, and we can do it in this wave. Now, how high? Well, there's 100%, where wave Y would be equal to wave W. All right, I went from that low to the high and back down to the next wave for the Y wave. 100%, 57.95. So, yeah, the possibility is there, but unless this is a monthly, multi, this goes back to also to 1970. So this is a really long-term chart. And I'm going to bring it down pretty quick. Let's get it out of there. Let's bring it down to the 5-year. And then here we're going to see that we're basically in that C wave up for the Y wave. And within that intermediate wave C, we have 5 waves of minor degree, of which I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm in wave 5. Now, that's the complete wave C. And here we have. You see, we're not that far away from getting up closer to the all-time high, at least the 2011 all-time high, which is 48 or 49. And this brings us up in there. Now, let me take it out of that weekly, bring it down to the daily, and boy, did we have this rally and then a correction, and then just big days where we rallied strongly, and we've already got to 37. So as high was 37.40 from last week. So, and we're correcting. And I believe, actually, if we just look at it, I'm taking from the daily, let me bring it down to the hourly, and it looks pretty clean. Again, expiration, expiration. Yes, that was something. And then we rallied up off of it and we came all the way back up. So monetized, finished, a little bit of tag here. Now, I can it does look like it's pretty straight down. So I'm leaving open the potential that wave four still could get down to here, 35,265, 34.50 or 60. And then four completes down there, and then we start to launch again. Right now, I'm marking it as if this low completed wave four, and that would suggest, let me go back out to the daily. That would suggest that wave five is now underway, and there's our marker. So I think we could actually get up into here. If we get a dynamic fifth wave, which can happen in the metals, I don't think this interest is abated other than we just needed to correct. And a lot was due to Friday's expiration. The monthly expiration, there was just a lot of gamma at these lower levels that they were going to drop and monetize. And then the market recovered. So I think we could have a dynamic fifth wave and get up much higher. Let me see. Let me see what I can get put together. If it went to full 2618, then we've got 52. I mean, I can add some others in there too, just to kind of see what we might get. Let me put this 1.882 and see what that comes in. Yeah, 47. So I think we can get up there. And it likely would come in a spike. Just like bam. And then everybody piles out. Bam. Just like we've seen all along with the market. Yep, I gotta go all the way out. And once again, spikes. Massive spike. Massive spike. And that's actually what a lot of the talk is. That it could just start to spike and that you get a lot of covering. A lot of short, and then just cover and it just races. And for whatever reason, but we spike. And this is the monthly. So you can see in the month, it spiked pretty hard. And this month was even harder. This month it went from 30 to 50, $20, $20 in the price of silver. That's a lot. In 2011, it went from 37 to 49. It was $12, almost $13. So it missed the $50 by 18 cents. So if we get up here, that's 52, new all-time high. And boy, that would be quite the Y wave. So I think it's there. I think it can happen. And silver is still in play. And I think we just got to time it out. Like I'm marking that as the force complete, leaving it for a little bit more, but then we turn and I think we rally hard. That's usually the good sign. We just go. Hi, we're done, we're going. And you see this was the strength. A little consolidation, but each of those rallies are pretty strong when you look at them price-wise. Big rally, big rally. Slow, consolidate, big rally. Get to that high, consolidate. I'm looking for it to pick back up again. So silver looking pretty good. Finally, over there, let's take a look at platinum. Here as well. Let me go out to my 5-year. That kind of gives me that fuller picture. Actually, I can pull it all the way out to my max, and we can see. Here's the big picture. So I'm counting this one also in primary. So there was a 5. So I've got a primary A. I got an intermediate A and B, and I'm looking for that C wave up to put the top in for the primary B wave. And then I think we have a chance of getting all the way up to there. And then come back down in a C wave, primary C wave, and then start another number cycle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, Now, the outside of this would be that again, it's one, two, but all this triangle action is more B wave, which is why I've done AB. It fits so cleanly. So we had a triangle, then we had an E wave triangle, and that's all done. And now we thrust up and out of the triangle and really thrust up and out of the triangle, which is exactly what we look for. Now, where are we inside of there? This is where I think I'm going to be real careful because I want to be careful in the degree that I'm counting. Like here we have it. My B wave, this all goes over. Oh boy. Activate and move. Activate and move. So there's the B wave, put it right where it belongs on my daily. And then we have, so if we're coming up, it's going to be 5 waves of minor degree. So I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, here's my first 5, and I'm calling it minor wave 1. Why? Well, because if I move this out, I have a lot of room. I have a lot of room. I got to go back out to my monthly again. I have a lot of room. But, because if I'm going to count this in minor, bringing it back down, I'm going to count this in minor, then I'm doing minor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's done. I'm like, no, no, I don't think it is. Right? Yeah, barely, probably a little bit more to get a new high above this A wave, but we're there. We just need to get above it. And then technically, could it be done? Yeah, but then it's an ABC of what? A primary B wave? Well, maybe. And then we come all the way back down again. So seasonally, you have a lot of seasonality here in platinum. And so it's when the producers come in to fill their needs for the next year, pretty much. And they start, they buy the futures and then they take delivery of the platinum. Also, there's a lot of investment being made by some of the central banks, particularly over in Asia, on buying platinum to put against currency, I guess. I'm not sure. So there's the demand is kind of high, but seasonally, we're there. But seasonally, it's usually February. So I'm trying to gather up, say, well, seasonally in June. So you keep going back. See, but that February, we had a collapse. That was the pandemic. I have to go to when these stronger rallies were. That's December. Here we go. Same deal. All the way up into August, we had something. Well, if we have that rally and it carries us into August, well, then we could be up here. And I would leave this as minor 1. Again, precious metal, I still have to follow the rules of Elliott. And so if it is minor wave 1, then we're looking for a little bit larger pullback. And in a wave 2, and here are the markers. Again, it would be a minor wave 2 pullback. 382, 1166, 1111, 50%, and 62%, 1056. And so, yep, that could be a wave 2. And then we rally in a wave 3, again, looking for some power. And I think that's when we can get towards up to here. The C wave, 100% of wave A, 16,066. I think we can get above there, but that again is a pretty solid area. And then above that, we have 1.618 for intermediate wave C at 2154. That would be quite the rally. And we got up there way back in 2008, again, February. And then March is where it topped. And then we started to collapse, of course, in the great financial collapse. So then rallied all the way back up, and then we dropped here, which was the pandemic. So again, I'm thinking we go up, we go up, we go up, and what could bring us down? Another financial or a serious change in the war. I don't know. We got a lot of choices, but right now I think there's still some more upside in platinum. How this is going to get counted is going to be really important. And right now I'm leaving it as minor wave 1. We get a minor wave 2, we get a minor 3, a 4, and a 5. So all these levels still remain active and possible. And we know that the market can get there. And it is a B wave. And it could be one big flat, right? Think about that. Here's the A, B, C, B, gets up towards here, it's flat. Here, it's even flatter. And then we're just looking for a C wave to bring it back down towards these levels. So we'll see. So I think the metals are still kind of active and still have upside, a lot of upside potential, at least in gold, silver, and platinum. And that's going to be it for this week. And like I said, I will keep an eye on it because if it continues to get strange, then I'll try to make an intraday, and not an intraday, an intra-week update, kind of keep everybody up on what's going on. Otherwise, next update will be next week.